morning, we have the first one with Dr. Carol Hargreaves, data literacy and AI educator. A seasoned data analytics and AI consultant educators, visionary leader for over 30 years of experience in the data science and analytics field. Dr. Hargreaves has has exceptional experience in solving problem complex in the real world problems that provide AI solutions across all industries, working with government agencies and large corporations. Her expertise has contributed to multiple innovative projects in very various fields. It could be in maritime, tourism, entertainment, and making a positive impact on society. As an associate professor of the Office of the President at the National University of Singapore, Dr. Hargreaves teaches, mentors, and supervises a team of instructors, lecturers to develop customized blended learning training courses in data literacy, basic, intermediate, and advanced in AI. We're going to have this morning an unusual conference because that's a path of a scientist. What does it mean to be a scientist in AI, what she's doing, why she's doing what she's doing, and we're going to have some interactive session together that she's going to ask you some questions. Please welcome with me Dr. Carol Hargreaves. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It gives me an absolute honor to stand here before you today to speak on my personal journey. So I won't actually be focusing on AI. If I have time, I will talk about it. But it's more on my personal journey that embodies my qualities such as commitment, proactive living, as well as resilience. So these qualities are the ones that have guided my life and have also helped me in coming to achieve my goals. So I hope my story resonates with you today. So we know that every person is unique in this room, right? We have some people who love the social settings. They are outgoing, right? Extroverts. We have other people who actually are introverted. They like their private space. They like to reflect a lot. And we may have other people that are actually adventurous, right? People who are daring, they're thrill seekers, they actually like to take risks and have new experiences. So my question to you is, who are you? So I want you to have a piece of paper to write down maybe 3 words or 3 adjectives or on your mobile phone, right, in your notes, 3 words that best describe who you are. I was told that the session should be interactive. So let's now see if there is a volunteer who would like to share with us 3 words that best describe them. Creative, open-minded, and a good listener. Okay, why would you say creative?
I've always liked visual arts and all that relates to it on a broader spectrum, and I've always defined myself as a creative and artistic person. So it's difficult to pinpoint exactly why.
Okay, so that's good enough. Thanks for sharing. Maybe we find someone else to share their 3 words that best describe them.
I chose curious, creative, and determinate.
Curious, creative, and?
Determinate.
Determinate. Maybe just share with us why you say determinate.
Because I'm always going to try to pursue my goals and will not stop until I achieve them.
Good, right? Always trying to achieve her goals. Okay, so the idea is to actually illustrate that we have all different qualities, right? We have some that are determinate, some that are creative, and so on. So with that, right, maybe give me the opportunity to share my 3 words. Okay, So for me, I feel I'm proactive. And the reason why I say I am proactive is because I take responsibility and I take initiatives to get what I want. And I can tell you a story about it, a short story. So there will be some gaps in the story. But basically, from the time I was in high school, I had decided that I wanted to get a PhD. So that was my dream goal. And at high school, I also decided that I wanted to do a Bachelor of Science degree because I liked science subjects. I liked maths, I liked physics, I liked chemistry. So when it came to the end of my schooling, I applied to register at one of the universities. I'm born in South Africa, so one of the universities in South Africa. And to my surprise, I was not able to go to that university that I applied to because there was racial segregation laws in that time period. So I was doing my bachelor's degree in 1884 to 1888. And so that did not deter me that I could not get my bachelor's degree at that university in my hometown. So I proactively took responsibility and initiative at 18 years old to write a letter to the university to share why I needed to do that Bachelor of Science degree. And the university came back to me and offered me a degree in optometry. I was fine with that offer because optometry falls within the Bachelor of Science degree. And all Bachelor of Science degrees in those days, we did the big four: maths, physics, chemistry, which I liked, and you choose one other subject from life sciences, zoology, botany, or biology. So I chose zoology. So to cut a long story short, I'd say that yes, I got my Bachelor of Science degree because I took that initiative to write the letter to the university. And yes, I was successful in achieving my PhD a few years later. And yes, I'm proud to do that. You'll hear more about my journey in future slides. The second word is commitment. So why do I say commitment? For me, I always feel blessed, right, for my life, my health, and my job, and so on. And I always want to and believe to give back. So in my academia, right, while I spend a lot of time at university, I also believe I need a holistic and balanced life. And so the other part of my time, I want to actually give back to my community. And how I do that is that I'm a Catholic, so I have opportunities to give back within my community there. So I offer my time as a catechism teacher, right, sharing the faith with teens. We also, this is my peer co-catechism teacher with me. We go to have social events also to ensure that our teens have social activities so they get to know each other better, they grow together as peers, as friends. I also am a member of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. If you don't know what is that, that is where we give help to the needy, financial help, and sometimes even social help where we visit them for those that are lonely. So that is my commitment, and I think that it's very important to have a balanced life, to have a holistic life. So while, yes, I'm very, very busy, right, especially at work, I make sure to balance my life by giving back to the community. The third word for me is resilience. So just to give you a definition of what resilience means, right? It refers to the ability to bounce back from challenges or difficult experiences. It's also the capacity to adapt in the face of adversity, maintain mental and emotional well-being, and to continue functioning effectively when there are obstacles. So coming back to my university story, so when I studied at university in the period 1884 to 1888, it was a big period of change. I say that because there was a lot of political disruptions, right? So we found that a lot of our classes were actually stopped for security reasons. And that meant that we, as the students, had to independently learn, right? Without a lecturer, without a teacher. So these political disruptions, again, did not deter me. I still independently put in every effort to study and do well in my courses. I think many of you, or some of you in the audience as students, right, have experienced similar challenges in the recent pandemic, for example. Classes were stopped, right? So there was no, you couldn't come to campus to learn from your lecturers. There were challenges for sure along the way, right? You had to do things differently. You had to do probably more of the work. You had to be more independent in order for you to do well in your courses. The second, not really a bad obstacle, but it's an obstacle of when you're at university. Well, in those days, my friends, some of them were more there for fun, right? And so often they'd say, hey, come, let's go to the movies, or let's go have lunch wherever. But I was so aligned to my goal of getting my bachelor's degree. When it came to weekdays, I worked very hard. You'd find me going to the library every afternoon and rather working at my tutorials or preparing for my assignments. So I always tried to, work hard and stay focused, right? And of course, achieve and do well in my courses. So despite my friends, I want to be with them, yes, but I always had to decide and make the right choice as to whether to go with them or not. Of course, on the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I spend time with them. The third one, right, the field that I'm in is more in the technology field. So we know that technology is evolving quite fast in these recent years. And when I became a statistician, today the word is more data scientist, AI practitioner. It has changed. When I was about 1990s, when I was a statistician, we used to use programmable calculators to do our analysis, right? So the skills I learned were fine for my job in that time. Today, it's coding, right? It's coding. So a job for the same statistician, the same type of role, actually now requires coding skills, right? So for some people, learning the coding may be a challenge because it's a very different field to doing some multiplications and doing some analysis. It's actually a language that you have to learn, right? Python, R, and on top of it, it's not just one language, right? As a statistician, as a data scientist, you need to know a few languages, typically R and Python at least. So for me, though, that wasn't a problem because I always was focused on being the best I can be and to do continuous learning. So on my own, already back in, before it even became AI and data science, I was already learning R. As soon as it comes out, I started learning R. I like to be involved in projects. So the way I learned wasn't typically in a classroom like this, because I'd finished my PhD, I'd finished all my studies. I would learn by getting involved in projects. So I would learn going to hackathons, right? Working with real data, experiencing real data, not the textbook data, and learn how to program as I needed. Depending on the problem, I would learn the R code. And that's how I learned how to code. So so I encourage you also to continuously learn, right? Jobs are going to change all the time, especially with the technology evolution. And, to persevere, you're going to find that in your jobs, even in your education, you may be asked to use data and analyze data, even in your studies, right? Don't let it stress you out, right? Just take it by the horns and, persevere, do what you need to do, whether you need to go on online courses or work in a group with your peers. Peer learning is very effective for adult learners, for people your age. Go to hackathons, or, there are many ways in which you can learn these days, not just in a physical class. So, yeah, I encourage you to do that. So, I don't know, so Avia was going to introduce me, so I'll just quickly go through this. So, yes, my name is Carol Hargreaves. I'm an associate professor in the Office of the President at the National University of Singapore. And the reason why I chose lecturing is because I was inspired by my professor. And I'll tell you more about him or how he inspired me. And another reason why I chose to do or become an academic is because I like to share my knowledge. And at the moment, I'm in the department where we do data literacy. We teach adult learners how to make sense of data. In fact, at the National University of Singapore, the president, Prof. Tan En Chai, initiated the data literacy program, where all our administrative and executive staff have to learn how to make sense of data. And from 4,300 admin and executive staff at NUS, we have already trained 3,500 staff. And today, they are using data in their everyday work to make informed decisions. So another reason why, right, I talk in conferences, talk and be part of a panel, or even do podcasts is because, again, I like to give back. So no matter how busy I am, I usually accept to give back to the community. So that's a bit about me. Let's move on a bit, right, to looking at a personal mission statement. So usually companies have mission statements, but actually it's a really good idea to have personal mission statements. And I think you're at the right time in your life to actually look at this in more detail. I put on some definitions about it, right, just in case there's someone out there who doesn't know or hasn't heard about a mission statement. So I'm going to read it out. So typically it's to focus, right, on what you want to be. So if you look 5 years from now, or even 1 year from now, whatever the time period, what is it you want to be? Where is it you want to be at? Maybe a certain type of job or a certain level in your job. What type of person you also want to be? You want to be a kind person, whatever it may be, right? And so your mission statement usually summarizes the person you want to be. It's a futuristic thing. And you can actually use sometimes imagination on who you want to be. Today you can be so-and-so. But if you have imagination and you have the perseverance to be the person you want to be, you can do it, right? So what we want to look at is understand firstly that human beings are driven by purpose, right? If you have no purpose, just get up in the morning and come, like robotically come to classes and take notes and so on. I think there's a lot more to life, right? And it's when you have a purpose that you actually will enjoy and experience life quite differently. So here are some examples of mission statements. One of them is from this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I read in December holidays by Stephen R. Covey. And just to give you an idea or examples of mission statements. For example, succeed at home first. This is his mission statement. Seek and merit divine help. Hear both sides before judging. Never compromise with honesty. Defend those who are absent. Be sincere yet decisive. Plan tomorrow's work today. Maintain a positive attitude. and facilitate success of subordinates. Another example, some call the mission statements creeds. So from a woman, I will seek to balance career and family, right, as best as I can, since they both are important to me. So yes, while, companies, we always see the mission statements. I'm sure ESSEC has a mission statement. But I think on a personal level, on a family level, you can actually have different mission statements, one on a career level, one on a personal level, one on a family level, and so on. So maybe I get you first to pause and think about your mission statement. Okay, so just now you thought about who you are, right? The 3 adjectives that best describe you today. But what is your mission statement? If you're looking ahead, what is it that you want to strive for? Okay, when you share, sometimes it helps you to commit, it helps you to be accountable. But when you sometimes keep it to yourself, or sometimes at least write it down, so it gives you some accountability. Okay, I'll share mine, right? So my mission statement is to live with integrity and to make a difference in the lives of others, right? And there are 3 words that guide me in making a difference in the lives of others. And these 3 words are charitable, sacrifice, as well as inspire. Through these words, I'm able to make a difference in other people's lives, be it my family members, be it my colleagues, be it my students, the people that I meet. And the first one, of course, is donations, right? So I am guided by regularly giving donations, be it to the church, to NUS giving program for students who have the academic ability but don't have the financial capacity to give to the St. Vincent de Paul, people who are needy. I regularly do that. Sacrifice is all about time. Giving money sometimes can be very easy, right? It's just a press of a button these days. But sacrificing of time, everyone is very, very busy, right? So you have to make that decision to sacrifice time. Otherwise, you'll always be busy, right? So I make it a point to sacrifice time, right? So in the community work that I do, in the catechism, I spend time with the teenagers. In my St. Vincent de Paul, every month we share breakfast with the needy persons. We also give them some money to help them get by to the next month. Some of the needy are immobile, so we have to visit their homes. They're also lonely, so we have to spend time with them when taking some money to them. And another part of my mission statement, of course, is again to, in my teaching, in my conference speaking, to inspire others to be the best they can be, whether it's in AI, data science, or even like today's talk, in your personal lives. So, you spoke about mission statements, but of course just writing down a mission statement is just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning. So when you're writing a mission statement, it's the future. But you have to think about, so the future is where you want to be. But you have to think of where you are now. Once you know where you are now, where you want to be, you need to write goals to get to where you want to be. So goals are important. And once you have the goals, right? So I had goals. I wanted to have a Bachelor of Science degree. I wanted to have a PhD. But in order to get there, I actually had to, have tasks every day, daily goals, in order to get my bigger plan. So I really shared with you how I was quite focused with my daily work in order to get my degree and so on. So it gives meaning and purpose to all you do. When you have goals, it helps you to guide you with your decision making, right? It also helps you with your daily activities. And of course, if you're disciplined enough, if you do all your activities that you're guided by, you will achieve where you want to be in the next X number of years. Okay, so why did I decide to take up statistics, today called data science AI, as a career, as a job? Okay, so coming back to my story of being a student in a Bachelor of Science degree, when I studied the Big Four, typically we had to do, or we did 5 subjects in our first year. So it means I had to have a filler course. So what I did is I looked at my calendar and I saw where I was available, look at the courses that were in that time block, and statistics was about the only course that could be my filler course. Now, I knew nothing about statistics. I knew absolutely nothing. All I knew was many students were talking about this course, statistics, and saying that it's difficult to pass, high failure rates, and so on. That did not deter me. That did not prevent me from registering for the course. I knew nothing about it, but I was just interested in it. Because I was told, oh, perhaps you need to be good at maths. So I knew I'm doing maths. I like maths, so I just took the statistics. So I took the statistics, but my story is in the sense that when I was in the class, I had an excellent professor. So professors do help you to make decisions about your career. He was really good in the class. And whenever he ended his lesson, he always gave us a question or some problem solving to do, which was not compulsory. Of course, me, I went to the library and I worked on this problem. And sometimes I know my answer's wrong, but I don't know why. Or sometimes I just don't even know, where to move on to solve the end problem. I'd go and knock during the consultation times of my professor and say, hey, look, I've started the problem. I'm lost somewhere. Can you help me? One thing with him was he never, ever gave me the answer, which I highly appreciate today. Instead, he would critically ask me questions. So what did you do? Why did you do it? How come you didn't do that? What if you did that, right? And in that process, we were having dialogue, and I would answer him. And eventually, then he would pause and say, I think I've given you hints. And then I would go back. With that critical thinking, I'd go back and solve the problem. So through him, I've been inspired by statistics. It can be very interesting, right? If you ask all the questions, the right questions, the what, the where, the why, the how, right? It's not just about doing an analysis or running code. No, it's a lot more to statistics. And so I think, to develop a curious mind, to always think critically is something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed asking the questions. I enjoyed, analyzing to find the answers. And as you get answers, you have more questions. So for me, it was really enjoyable experience doing problem solving. So that's why, of course, I'm still, even though I'm in academia, like last year, for the last 6 years, up till June 2023, I was the director of the Data Analytics Consulting Center. So we did a lot of industry projects in analytics, in AI, and so on. And so I've never really left industry per se. So that's what keeps me going, because now when I come back into the class, when I teach my courses, I can actually share real-world problem-solving case studies with my class. And so that's why I still keep a link and a relationship between industry. Data science for me is applied. So it's not about just learning the theory, learning the programming. You have to work with real data. Very different to the textbook examples. Textbook examples, the data is clean. So there's a lot of things you miss out. When cleaning the data, you learn more and understand more about the data. So to move on, maybe, I will share some of my research projects in data science and AI. So, like I shared with you, I like to give back. Often at the university, a lot of students will approach me to supervise their projects. I'm really, really busy, but as I say, I live by my mission. I agree to, supervise their projects. Sometimes it's 5, 6 projects, because 6 students come to me. I agree, right? But one thing I always tell them, yes, I'll supervise your project, but we both have to agree that at the end of our research, at the end of our problem solving, we need to publish. And they, of course, it's a win-win. They also like the idea that their work with me will be published. And so in that way, a lot of my papers you'll find is with students, right? And it's real-world problems, but problems that matter, right? Problems that are impactful. It's not some mathematical research paper. It's projects that can be used and applied. So the first one is in the rheumatoid arthritis healthcare space. So that one looks at, we have hand and feet joints. We use X-rays of the rheumatoid arthritis patients to measure the erosion between the finger joints, to measure the narrowing between the finger joints. So we use computer vision to actually be able to measure that. And then we're able to write an algorithm to automatically classify patients as having rheumatoid arthritis or not, using the X-rays. And also, doctors also use it to understand the progress of rheumatoid arthritis. By using this automated version, it's very quick, right? You can even take once you have your X-rays, it's seamless. Within a minute, the doctors will know the status of the patient and whether they've progressed or not with the disease. So this one, it was actually a data set in a huge competition. I told you I like hackathons and these types of competitions, right? So the 3 of us, my 2 students and I, entered international competition. The data sets were as real as can be. And there were about 100 teams that entered. And there were 2 competitions in this one. For the one, we came 9th. And for the other competition, we came 14th, right? So for us, not bad out of 100 teams. And so of course, I already told him, we wrote our paper, but I thought what we had done was very different to what a lot of the others had done. So each solution is different. It's actually advertised, all the solutions are actually in papers. And so I went, and with NUS, we have now a patent for these algorithms, right? In the next example, it's actually an extension. So it's not only on hands and feet, it's on the wrists. And there we looked at the erosion and the narrowing of the wrist joints related to the rheumatoid arthritis. And that's about staying focused and also still being curious. Because, of course, we can now do the hand and the feet. Why not do the wrists, right? So to continue staying focused and continue, we really have expertise in the one area. It's not so much difficult to move on to the wrists. And the third project is quite different, right? During COVID time, we studied Twitter data. We scraped the Twitter data to understand the sentiments of COVID-19, right, in Singapore. And this one is, I don't know how many views we have, way more than citations. So 125 citations we're very proud of, and the views are way, way higher. For some projects outside of healthcare, there's finance, and this you can see it's in 2013. In those days, even before 2013, very difficult to get real data. There was no Kaggle and UCI and all these platforms with data sets. The only way we eventually found data is through Yahoo Finance, where we could download the financial data, apply all our statistical techniques to the data to predict the stock market's price movements. And we're very successful, right? I actually developed an app, right, that scored stocks on a scale of 1 to 10 on the likelihood of the stock going up, stored stocks on the scale of 1 to 10, on the likelihood of on the financial health of the stock, and also got a patent for that algorithm. Moving on to the next one, sustainability is big, right? If you're in the workplace or going to the workplace, every single company has to have a sustainability program, right? It's law. They need to monitor the carbon dioxide emissions. So, as I say, I like to choose projects that are impactful. So we worked on this one in the maritime industry, where we looked at the shipping carbon dioxide emissions before COVID, during COVID, and so on. And it's also a paper that is well read as well. And the last one is one that I quite like. The skills that I learned in the last one is using Gen AI skills, where, as I said, I like to continuously learn. I learned how to build generative adversarial networks, GANs, autoencoders, and this technique is it's hot today. It's very hot, but I learned it a long while ago. I don't know if you can see what here it is. So the beauty of this technique, what it is firstly, it generates synthetic data, right? So why do you need to generate synthetic data? One, when you're using AI, you need a large amount of data in order for your solution to be robust and accurate. But very often, the healthcare data is limited because, of course, of privacy and so on. So when we generate synthetic data, we do it in such a way that the synthetic data is very similar to the regional data. In that way, we can augment our regional data, which is a small data set, with the synthetic data, and therefore run our models and have solutions for healthcare. So that's one. Two, sometimes you work with third parties. The data is private, it's sensitive, but you need that solution, right? So by generating synthetic data, you can share that data with a third party because it's nobody's data, right? So you're overcoming the privacy, security concerns. So we did this project in a diabetes project, and the results were really good. So in a nutshell, I'm also selling AI and data science that, these techniques work, right? Because they're applied in real world scenarios and they are evaluated and measured over time. So some people might think, oh, how's it possible to be able to predict the future using data? The techniques are really good and accurate. So in summary, maybe I'll leave you with these three advice, right? In selecting your career, some of you may already be in a career. Maybe or have some focus in a career, because I believe you are master's students, which means that you may have work experience, right? But those who are embarking on choosing a career, choose something that you love. I think it's when you enjoy your work, when you're passionate about what you do, it's no longer work, right? It's no longer work because you enjoy it. You've got no problem sitting hours with it. And that's what you maybe I recommend to you. Any challenges that come your way, it's not going to be an obstacle because you'll be very keen to find out more on overcoming that problem. The second one, for sure there's going to be obstacles, challenges. That's an everyday thing, right? Be it in the workplace, even be it in your studies, in your education. There will be challenges. Persevere, right? Don't let the obstacles get into your way. And the third one, of course, my whole summary of my talk is that you need to have a vision. With a vision, right, you have goals. And it's only when you put those goals into action that you become successful. So what will you do if you had no limits? This is my question to you. I want you to be imaginative, to be creative. It is your imagination week. Can you think of what you will do if you had no limits? So what do I mean by that? So here's some guidance. Think about what matters to you most. Forget about the money that's needed. Forget about the time that's needed. Forget about the skills that needed. Just think if you had everything, what is the thing that matters most to you? What are the 3 things that are absolutely positive that you like to do, that you love to do? Right? Think of maybe a single word or some music that actually captures your mission. And lastly, I would say, what is the one thing that you could do? Something that you are not doing now, right? But if you did it on a regular basis, it would make a tremendous positive difference in your life. Go on to the next one to give you some food for thought. I think it's important at the beginning of the year, maybe if you think about what are your goals for the next 12 months. Right? I think, as mentioned earlier, goals are very important. If you want to achieve something, or you want to be in a particular career or particular position, what are the things you need to do? What are the goals you need to put in place? So maybe write it down. So even if you don't share, I still think it's important to write it down. When you write it down, you're going to commit to it. You're going to be accountable to it. Or even share with the person next to you what are your goals. That's really important to do when you set goals, to make yourself accountable. Okay, so I guess maybe because I want to just share one thing, right, in connection with the imagination part of AI. So when listening to Xavier, he was telling me some of the talks that you've already experienced. And so I knew mine is more on my personal journey and goals. But while talking now, I think I want to just share in conclusion and in closure what I think, or my creativity, or what's already happening with AI in education, right? Because that's the field I'm in. So I have to think ahead always. So for me, AI in education, I imagine that it's going to be flipped. Currently, we have more coming to class in terms of courses and fewer courses that are e-learning or, not coming to the class. So when we're traditionally 100% class, nothing online. Slowly, we have maybe 80% class. We have blended learning. Well, at NES, we have blended learning. My view is that in the future, it's going to be almost 100% online. Why do I say that? I say it because the alpha generation is like a 13-year-old today who are very tech savvy, who like to just sit on their computer, and they actually learn a lot of things way faster than us, right? And picture them. When they're online, they have an avatar. So for me, one thing I can see in the future, we're going to be teaching with our students coming online with avatars. The teacher themselves will be an avatar. When we set up our teaching materials online, we're going to have one that looks just like this, a room that is like a lecture theater style, and the person will come and sit, right, online in the lecture style. We'll have another classroom where there may be just books and books, but those books are related to the topic that will be taught. So that's for people who like to learn from books, right, in a storytelling manner. We may have another room online where it's all about discussion. So you have like a lounge setting, and people can just come in there and discuss the topic, share their knowledge on the topic, where you do peer learning. We may have another room that looks more like a lab, where you'd actually do experiments, and all the artifacts are there to do the experiment. But you have to do the experiment. You'll just have all the artifacts needed to do the experiment. Another room with a whole stack of videos. So some people like to learn through videos. And in those who like that will go in the class, choose the video that they like, and then they will, listen to the videos in that online. You need to be present, of course, to get your grades. And the final group will be the fun group for this alpha group because it will be games. It will be a game room. They will learn maybe how to trade in the stock market through games, through competitions. And that's what I see very soon. Some universities are already doing, using AI in their teaching. And why it's also good, because you get instant feedback, because it's digital. The AI will tell you, oh, these people are very active, this one contributed, and they'll be scoring the people while they're online. Analyzing the facials, with avatars you might not be able to do that, but all your assessments will be all very different. So that's my idea on my creativity for the Imagination Week. So just to close on my last slide, it's a quotation by Stephen R. Covey. How different our lives are when we really know what is deeply important to us. And keeping that picture in mind, we manage ourselves each day to be and to do what really matters most. So whatever you want to do, I'd say have some picture or have a page on your wall, on your mirror, to remind you of your mission, of what is your goals. And when you see it every day, it will motivate you to do something each day. Thank you for listening. I'm open to any questions you might have. It can be on data science, on anything in AI.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.